Hello, and welcome everyone on the live coding session about properties building block. Um, my name is Michał, and I'm responsible for developer relations at LiveChat. Today, I will host our session. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if everything works right. Maybe drop the name of the city that you live in, so we get to know each other a little better, and also to let me know that you can hear me. And I will check on the chat if everything works fine. Do not leave me behind. I live in Wrocław. It's one of the biggest cities in Poland. You must visit. Okay, let's see. I can see one. Yes, all good. So I believe we are on. I have a little delay between what you write and what I see. I can see Wilkshyn, I can see another Wrocław, Kielce. All right. So I believe you hear me. And Włocławek. All right. And Wilkshyn is a village, not a city. Oh, so somebody lied on the chat. Okay, never mind. Today I'm going to build a sample app using properties and show you how it works, how they work, and what is the easiest way of using them. And for that, we'll start with a quick presentation of an app that is already on a LiveChat Marketplace and uses properties to save notes about the customers. Then we will be creating our own app that uses properties. I'm going to show you how to create a properties building block, how to use it. Then share a couple of ideas for you, so you could create an app for your own. And as always, in such sessions, we will end with a Q&A. So if you will have any questions during the session about the properties or LiveChat Marketplace, Developer Console, or actually anything you might think of, just drop them on the chat and I will try to answer them at the end of the session. All right. Before we start, I would like to tell you about our Discord for developers server, LiveChat for developers Discord server. You can talk there to other developers and our team about creating marketplace apps. Ask for help if you need one, and share your feedback about our features. So the link should be in the description. Maybe it will be posted on the chat, and it also is accessible through LiveChat Developer Console, so you can always join. All right, so before further ado, let's begin with a presentation of a quick notes. It's an app that was created by me and my friend that saves information, short notes about the customers. The app is accessible for all LiveChat customers on the marketplace. It can be bought from here. I have the app already installed on my license, on my account, so we will start the test chat with the customer. And we will go to the quick notes to see how it works. And as you can see, it's just a simple text field that you can see here. It's an aged up widget. You can type here anything and click add note to save it. And that's it. I mean, it's not all the features that this app has, but this is the one that uses properties, the main one that we are going to focus on today. And this one saves the properties within, saves the nodes within chat as a property value. And what properties are is basically key value pair designed to store data about your application and actually about anything you want. It can be used for storing the data or maybe used as core mechanism of your entire application. Our app that we're going to use today is going to use properties to store information about the subscription, to check if the subscription is saved for the customer. And here I have an example of this app. We have to log in into it, give it the access, and then, okay, I'll unsubscribe for first. And it shows the customer name, the customer email, if there is one, and it shows the add subscription button with, if we hit it, we get the information that subscription is active, so it has been saved, and we can unsubscribe to remove the subscription for this customer. I know it looks really simple, but there are many things that are happening under the hood, and we are going to jump to them in a moment. So what we have to do to start creating an app, we have to create it. So to create such app to be available for all agents in LiveChat, you need to go to developer console, which is developers.livechat.com/console. We go to the apps and we create a new app. You can create it. You can name it whenever however you want. It can be changed later, so it doesn't actually matter right now. I'll name it Properties Subscription App. Then when the app is created, you have to add building blocks to it, which the first one that we're going to use is going to specify where the app should be located in the Agent App interface, which is Agent App widgets. So we hit Get Started right here, and we have to set the widget source URL. And since my test app is on a local host, I'm going to use a local host URL here. Oh, sorry, it's not this one. Okay. And for the widget placement, we are going to use chat details. There are different possible options here, but chat details is what we are looking for. And we hit continue. And that's it about Agent App widgets. It will know to be load. The app will know to load in chat details. So that's it. The next one is authorization block. The app authorization will get us access token that we're going to use in the requests made to LiveChat API. So we have to add one. So let's get started. The first question here is if you're going to build front-end app or server-side app. Our will be front-end application, so we choose the first option. We hit continue, and our OAuth client is created. And here is everything that you need to use app authorization. What we are going to use in our application is client ID, and we're going to need it in a code later, so we can skip it for now. And the redirect URI. Here you post the domain or the link to your application, so the app will know that it should give access for this URL to ask for the permission to use agent scopes to perform LiveChat API requests. So as soon as you add it here and save changes, it should refresh, as you may seen a second ago. And the last thing here in the authorization is app scopes and API access. We need to specify which scopes the app will ask for from the agent. For that, we need to select them from here. But how do we know which scopes ask for? We go to LiveChat documentation. So you go to LiveChat documentation. We head on to management and configuration API, as there is where this is the API that is used for the properties management. And then we search for the properties on the right side here in the menu. You can read here everything about the properties that you need to know before using them. As I said before, our application is going to use license properties to save information about the customer, about their subscription status, if they have one or not. So for that, we're going to use license properties, and two methods that we're going to use is list license properties and update license properties. The first one, list license properties, is here, and we can find in this documentation what we need for that, and what we want from here is required scopes. So we can just copy that from here, and go to developer console and paste it here and save it. So we have already in our authorization block the scope for listing the properties. We also need the one that is used to update. And in the update license properties, we have two required scopes. One of them is this one. So let's copy that and paste it here and save. And the other one is the exact the same that we needed in list license properties. So it's already here. So we don't need it to add this again. And that's it. Those two scopes will be enough for us to perform those two requests. Finally, let's go to the building block that we are all here for about, the properties. As you can see, this button is disabled, and it's for a reason, because we need to add another scope here in order to manage properties. So let's go to authorization back again. Let's add scope properties configuration. It's for create definition for integration properties. Save changes, and right now our building blocks should be now available. All right, so here we go. Let's get started with that one. Here is the view of creating a new property. Starting from the top, we set the name. Since our app will be about subscriptions, so let's call it subscriptions. We can set the type of the property. We are going to use the string one. Here we set the location. As we said before, it will be in the license. So in the license, we select the agent access to read and write. So the agent will be able to get all the information about the properties and about the subscription and write to the they could replace the current property with the new value. We don't need any access for the customer, so we leave it empty here. You can also set the values that can be used within the property and the default value, but we don't need it in our application, so we'll leave it empty and hit the create. Here we go. The property has been registered successfully. We have the property subscription set on our license, and you can see how it looks right here. And the last thing for the app to be connected to your account is to install it. So we will add some display details here. We will generate the random icon for the app. Maybe it's some different one. Okay, I like this one. And save changes. And the last thing here is to private install it on your license. So in private installation, you just hit the install button, and that's it. It should be available right here after we refresh in the top right corner. Let's see. Yes, here it is. And it loads our application right here. I noticed a weird thing. This shows that I'm in Vliction, but it's not true. Okay, so as you can see, the app is here and it's working. It shows the login button, but we need to now to check what exactly happens in the code and if everything works correctly. So for the developer console and the LiveChat agent app side, it's all. Let's jump to the code. So I will change the screen so you can see it better. All right. And what we have in the code here is we are using React for that. And we are using three SDKs from LiveChat. The first one is Agent App SDK. We use create details widget from that. It uses it gets information. We used it to get information from Agent App and to save it in our application. So Agent App widget actually gets information about the customer. The design system I'm using the design system here to show the button. It's not necessary. I just wanted it to look a little bit better, but it's not important. right now. And the accounts SDK is the one that we are using to get authorization from the agent and use that to get access token with our requests to LiveChat API. Let's start with adding the client ID here in our code, as it will be used several times within the application. So let's go back to developer console, go to authorization block, copy the client ID and paste it right here. Okay, and save it. And then let's start with, here's the whole code of the application. We will walk through it, but let's start with how it loads on the agent side. First of all, we check if there is any authorized data. Initially, when you load the app, there is no authorized data set. So we are loading the login button. It's what you saw right here. Login button is here because we didn't log into the app yet. And after we hit login, it takes us to the handle login function, and let's see what happens here. Here is the redirect function from the for the accounts SDK. It loads this instance, which is the accounts SDK instance that is being loaded with this accounts options. And in these options, it's just the copy paste from our documentation from accounts SDK. So I will not explain it more than just specifying the client ID. We set the redirect URI here, and the only thing here that is different than default options is the prompt consent. We use that one to make sure application shows us this consent, this view of giving the scopes to the applications every time. So we will have the experience of the real user, because if you are owner of the application, you always have the access granted upfront to the application. But whenever customer installs the app from the marketplace, they have this additional view where they have to give the permission to the app to use it. So this prompt consent parameter gives us this opportunity to see the app, how the final customer will see it on their side. Okay, so this is what happens here is we are redirecting to this view the user, the agent that is using the app, and also we have here the information about the profile. Since every time the app is loaded, we get the profile of the customer, but since we are using redirect to not lose it, we are saving the profile within the state, and then we get it back right after we are logged into our application. Then we save the authorized data, and right now it should change the login button, actually hide it and show the different information for the agent at the front, but it also gets the subscription properties here by using get properties function. So let's see exactly what happens there. Let's go to get properties, and right here we are calling our first LiveChat API method, which is list license properties. And to see what exactly we need for this request, we go to LiveChat API documentation, we go to list license properties, and here everything is explained, so you can perform the method by your own. It shows the method URL, it's the exact that we are using, the scopes that we specified before, set before in a developer console, and also the parameters that are going to be needed to perform this particular action. Our application will need only the properties that we saved there. So we are going only to use the namespace one, which is going to show us all the properties saved for this namespace. A namespace in this particular example is the client ID. So here is the example of this request, and in the code, as you can see, we have this URL set here is the post method. We have the headers with the authorization, with the access token we received from the login, and also here in the body we set the namespace as our client ID. All right, and what happens next? 1 minute. Okay, what happens next? We receive all the existing properties and check if there are any properties for our client ID. If there are none, we just return nothing. But if there are any properties, we since they are string, because we set the property to be a string type, we are going to parse it to JSON, so it will be easier to make modification to it in our code. All right, so that was for the login. So whenever we are logged in, right here, we get the properties with our authorized data, we get the subscription properties, and we check if the subscription properties have our customer ID in them. If there are, so right here, we set the has subscription to true. And that changes something else in our view. Right here, as you can see, if the authorized data exists, we are showing the customer name and customer email. If we have them, if not, we show unknown. We get them from their profile. And then we check if there is a subscription set for this customer. And there is, of course, one where when the subscription is active, we show it, and we show the unsubscribe button. If there is none, we show only add subscription button for this customer. Let's start with the add subscription button and see what it does. It performs handle subscribe function. Let's jump into it. Handle subscribe, first thing that it does, it calls for the get properties, so the exact same that we get with login, and we check if the existing subscriptions within our property include the profile ID of the customer. If it does, we don't need to do anything. There is already subscription, so we skip that part. If there's none, we just proceed. We set the updated subscriptions with existing ones, and at the end to the string, to the JSON, we add the profile ID, and then we use save properties. And save properties with update subscriptions is really similar to the previous one. Here is our second method that we use. It's the update license properties. And again, we go to the LiveChat documentation. We go to update license properties, and here we have everything we need to perform this particular method on our own with an example. And as you can see here, we save it in the properties, namespace, client ID. Here is the property name, which is subscriptions, and the value for it will be stringified version of our updated subscriptions JSON. So then the properties, as soon as the properties are being saved, here, no, sorry, where was it? It was in handle, handle subscribe. Here, whenever the save properties is done, we set that the customer subscription has subscription a value to true, and after that is done, we are changing this button unsubscribe subscribe to unsubscribe and show the information that the subscription is active. All right, so about the unsubscribe, here we have handle unsubscribe function, and it's actually the same one as subscribe with one change. whenever we get the properties with the subscription information, from the existing subscriptions, we filter out the ID of the customer and do exactly the same. We save properties with updated subscriptions without our customer ID from here, and change the has subscription value to false to again show the subscription button to add subscription, not unsubscribe. And that is basically it for these two methods that we are using. So update license properties and get list license properties. We also have here this create details widget from Agent App SDK. We use it to get the profile of the customer on every customer profile event. You can get all of that from the Agent App SDK documentation. And about the code, that's basically it. That's how it works. Let's see once again how it looks in a real view. So to make sure, I will refresh. Okay, we have a conversation with our customer. We open the app. We have to log in. It asks us about our scopes. So we hit allow button. And then we see the customer name and the customer email if there is one. Let's try to start a new chat. Maybe I will drop the link to it on the chat. So you can start the chat by yourself with me. And I will also open a new one in an incognito mode. New visitor 2 with my email. We start the chat right here. And as you can see, I can see my email, my name, and I can add subscription for myself here. I can see Marta started a new chat, and I can add subscription for her as well. And as you can see, whenever we change the customer here, it shows us the current state and if the subscription is added there. And we can also go to the chat, and if subscription is active, unsubscribe. And so as you can see, everything works flawlessly. All right, so about the coding part, I think that will be it. I will now try to show you a few examples of how you can use properties in different apps for yourself. We have in Developer Console a set of app ideas created from conversation with our customers. So it's also updated. So you can just enter the app ideas anytime and explore new ideas for your application. For example, tracking number checker can use properties to save information about tracking number for the customer. So whenever a customer comes back to your chat, you can check their tracking number without reviewing the archives or asking them for the one. Of course, not all of the integration needs to use properties. It depends on the use case. Like here in the see the translated chat in the widget, you can transform the idea to save the translated messages as properties within the events of the chat. So when you have customer that speaks Spanish and you have agent that doesn't speak Spanish, you can get every chat message and next to its event, save property with the translated message. So the chat will have both original message and the message that was translated to the native language of you or your agent. And there are many other app ideas in here, so make sure to check them out and choose one and perhaps create an app of your own. I believe that's it for today from me. So if you have any questions, drop them on the chat. I will do my best to answer. I will give it a couple of minutes. Also, make sure to join our Discord server. You have a link right here in a left bottom corner of our console. You can discuss your own ideas of an app there. Contact us if you need some assistance, and contact other developers to maybe collaborate on making an app together. All right, so let's wait a second if there will be any questions, and I believe we'll be heading to the end of our session today. Okay. What are the public properties? All right. About the properties, you need to know that there are two types of them. There are public properties and private properties. It's all explained in the documentation, but in short, private properties is the one that are only used by your client ID, so by the creator by the application that registered them, and it doesn't share the data with any other applications. So if you, for example, I don't know, for the public properties, you can allow the other applications to access them and use that data. For example, if you're having like Facebook Messenger integration, and you save in the properties data about the customer, like their name or link to their profile, you can set the public property to be read by the other client IDs, and they can access that data to use for actually anything that they want. About the public properties, whenever property is private, you can publish it, and whenever you publish it, you can change its access to be read only, to make sure no other developer is messing with your properties if you don't want them. And the other thing is important here, whenever your property is published, it cannot be unpublished. So make sure to like publish them only when you know that they are ready to be published. All other information about them can be found in our documentation. There is also a document about LiveChat properties in our platform updates, so you can read about it if you need some more data, more information about it from our main page. And I think that will be it. I don't see more questions on the chat, so I will just head on to the end of our session today. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching this. I hope you've learned something about the properties, and I'm looking forward to see your applications on the marketplace. All right. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notifications about every content that we post here. I would be really glad if you leave a thumbs up under this video, and I think that will be it. So thank you again very much. Have a good rest of the day, and see you next time. Bye bye.